Robert's Rebellion. 15 years before the events of the story, the Seven Kingdoms were torn apart by a civil war known as Robert's Rebellion, or the War of the Usurper. Rhaegar Targaryen abducted Lyanna Stark, angering her family and her betrothed, Robert Baratheon. When Lyanna's father and brother demanded her safe return, King Aerys II, known as the Mad King, executed them. Eddard Stark, Lyanna's other brother, joined his childhood friend Robert Baratheon and their foster father Jon Arryn in rebellion against the Targaryens. Through marriage alliances, the Tully and Arryn houses also joined. House Tyrell remained loyal to the crown, while the Lannisters and Martells stayed neutral at first. The war reached its peak at the Battle of the Trident, where Robert killed Rhaegar. The Lannisters eventually chose to support the Mad King, but betrayed him by sacking King's Landing. Jaime Lannister, a member of the Kingsguard, murdered King Aerys. After this, House Lannister swore loyalty to Robert. Tyrells and other loyalists also bent the knee, and Robert Baratheon was crowned King of the Seven Kingdoms. Lyanna Stark died shortly after being rescued from the castle where she had been held. To strengthen his hold on the throne, Robert married Cersei Lannister. Meanwhile, the Mad King's surviving children, Viserys and Daenerys, were smuggled across the Narrow Sea. Princess Elia Martell of Dorne, Rhaegar's wife, and her children were murdered during the sack of King's Landing, leading the Martells to withdraw from court politics. Greyjoy's Rebellion. 6 years later, King Robert crushed Balon Greyjoy's uprising on the Iron Islands. Balon's 2 eldest sons were killed, and his youngest, Theon, was taken as a ward by Eddard Stark. The story begins 298 AC. The main story starts in the year 298 AC, after Aegon's conquest. In the Seven Kingdoms, at Winterfell, Lord Eddard Stark executes a Night's Watch deserter. His sons Robb and Bran, his illegitimate son Jon Snow, and his ward Theon Greyjoy accompany him. On their way back, they find a dead direwolf killed by a stag's antlers. The wolf had given birth to 5 pups, 1 for each Stark child. Jon finds a 6th pup, an albino with white fur and red eyes. Soon after, King Robert Baratheon arrives at Winterfell with his wife, Queen Cersei Lannister, their children Joffrey, Myrcella, and Tommen, as well as Cersei's brothers Jaime and Tyrion. Robert offers Eddard the position of Hand of the King after the death of Jon Arryn. Ned accepts, taking his daughters Sansa and Arya to King's Landing, while Catelyn remains at Winterfell with Robb, Bran, and Rickon. Jon Snow heads to the Wall with Tyrion Lannister. Catelyn Stark receives a warning from her sister Lysa Arryn that Jon Arryn was murdered by the Lannisters. After an attempt on Bran's life, Catelyn travels to King's Landing and learns from Petter Littlefinger, Baelish, that the weapon used belonged to Tyrion. On her return north, she captures Tyrion, taking him to the Eyrie for trial. Tyrion wins a trial by combat with the help of the sellsword Bronn. In King's Landing, Ned uncovers the truth. Robert's children are not his, but the result of Cersei and Jaime's incest. Robert dies from a hunting accident before Ned can act. Cersei's son Joffrey is crowned, and Littlefinger betrays Ned. Forced into a false confession of treason, Ned is nevertheless executed by Joffrey. Sansa is held captive, while Arya escapes with the help of Syrio Forel and Yoren of the Night's Watch. This sparks the War of the Five Kings. Robb Stark marches south to support House Tully, capturing Jaime Lannister in battle. Renly Baratheon declares himself king with Tyrell support, while Robb is declared king in the north. At the Wall, beyond the Wall, the Night's Watch encounters the others. Jon Snow joins the Watch under his uncle Benjen Stark. Benjen disappears on a ranging mission. Jon befriends Samwell Tarly and Maester Aemon, who reveals his Targaryen bloodline. Jon saves Lord Commander Jorah Mormont from a reanimated corpse. Mormont leads an expedition beyond the Wall to confront the growing threat of Mance Rayder, the king beyond the Wall. In the east, across the narrow sea in Pentos, Prince Viserys Targaryen marries off his sister Daenerys to Khal Drogo, hoping to reclaim the throne with Drogo's vast khalasar. Among her wedding gifts are 3 petrified dragon eggs. Daenerys and Drogo fall in love, and she becomes pregnant. Viserys grows impatient and insults Drogo, who kills him by pouring molten gold over his head. Later, an assassin sent by Robert attempts to kill Daenerys, prompting Drogo to vow to invade Westeros. But during a raid, Drogo is wounded and later dies due to a witch's treachery. Daenerys loses both him and her unborn son.